I'm here with the Madam of Money, Susan Lassiter-Lyons. Susan, thank you for joining me once again.
My pleasure. I love it.
I love doing these little jam sessions with you. And in this particular one, I want to ask you to explain a little side niche of the funding arena for real estate investing that, frankly, most investors aren't even aware of. If they are, they don't understand it, and they don't know how it can benefit them, and that is the arena of portfolio lenders. And I've just recently had my eyes opened to this, and it was quite eye-opening, to be sure. So maybe just start off, and we want to maybe do this in about 5-10 minutes if we can. But if you can tell me what a portfolio lender is, why it matters, and then what's in it for us as investors, how we can benefit from it specifically.
You bet. I love portfolio lenders. I think, you know that, JP, and I've been, kind of screaming from the rooftops about portfolio lenders ever since even before the mortgage meltdown happened in 2007. It's just something that as real estate investors, we have to not only be aware of, but we absolutely have to embrace, because here's the bottom line. Banks hate us. Banks hate us. Okay. If you look at the Wells Fargos of the world, you look at the Bank of Americas of the world, good luck as a real estate investor trying to get your deals financed with conventional lenders. And those two lenders that I just mentioned are what we call conventional lenders. And the reason why is because they have to follow the rules of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Okay, the federal guidelines for lending, those rules that say we can't have more than 4 to 10 financed properties, the rules that say we can't refinance our properties if we've owned them less than 6 months if we want to just do a rate and term refinance, or 12 months if we want to take cash out, those rules that say we can't finance properties in the name of our LLC or our entity, those rules that say, just ridiculous things, right? I mean, who wants to have to jump through all those hoops? Who are they to tell me how many financed properties I can have as a real estate investor if all of those properties are cash flowing, right? It's completely crazy. But the reason they have those rules is so that all of the loans can fall into, a certain bucket that will follow certain guidelines that those Wall Street buyers have set forth and said, these are the types of loans we want to buy. So what happens with conventional lenders like Bank of America and Wells Fargo's is that they make all these loans according to all these rules, so they all match up with these guidelines. Okay, there's nothing outside of the box. It's all very inside the box. And then they package up and pool like hundreds and thousands of these loans, and they sell them off in packages to Wall Street buyers. Now, if they fall outside of those guidelines, then the Wall Street buyers won't sell them, and then they're stuck with those loans. And that's what those national banks aren't in the business of doing. They don't want to have to service those loans. They don't want to keep those loans on their books. They want to sell them off to the highest bidder on Wall Street. Flip over to portfolio lenders. Portfolio lenders are those small local banks and credit unions, sometimes regional, but typically local. They're those banks that when you're driving down the street, you see a bank that says something, crazy like Pueblo Bank and Trust. And you're like, Pueblo Bank and Trust? I never heard of them before. That's a portfolio lender. These guys, what makes them cool, especially from our perspective as real estate investors, is that they don't follow the rules of conventional lending. Okay. They don't sell their loans off to the highest bidder on Wall Street. They are in the business of making the loans, keeping those loans in-house, and servicing those loans themselves. So they get to create their own rules. Hence, they are way more flexible, especially with real estate investors, than the Bank of Americas or the Wells Fargos will ever be. And they're the ones, even in the current lending environment, that are making loans to real estate investors in the name of their LLCs and entities that don't report to their personal credit report. They're making the unseasoned cash out loans. They're doing blanket loans. They're the ones that are still doing the business lines of credit. They're even doing this sexy thing called a master loan commitment where, like if you're a rehabber, for example, and you say, look, we buy like one house a month under all these criteria using private money, but we want to be able to refinance them all and not have to qualify each one individually for a refinance, they'll essentially give you like a $1 million letter of credit that's good for 12 months, whereby you can refinance all of your properties under that one letter of credit, as long as they meet all the criteria that you set forth without having to requalify from your own credit perspective or have them even.